everyone, I'm Meredith Graves from MTV News at Lollapalooza 2017, backstage with the amazing London Grammar. Hannah, Dan, and Dot, you guys kicked ass today. How was your set?
It was good. We actually had some technical problems like at the start, which kind of worked out well for the set, because I feel like then it humanizes you, and the crowd was so supportive through it. It kind of made it more fun. It was good.
I kind of feel like in your dreamy, ambient kind of trip-hop kind of zone too, maybe they thought that you were playing some really fascinating experimental music.
I mean, yeah, it sounded a bit more like drum and bass, but yeah.
Is this your first time playing Lollapalooza?
No, we played actually in 2014, I think we did, and it was amazing then, and it's lovely to be back. Really, really great.
Now, 2014 may sound like a long time ago, but you've been playing together in some iteration since about 2009, correct? How did you get to know each other?
We met at university, so I met Hannah when we started university in 2009, and we met Dot a little bit later, also at university, and that was the beginnings of it.
So when a couple is coming up on their 10-year anniversary, which you guys will be in a couple years, people ask them, how do you do it?
Yeah.
How do you make love last? What's the secret to still being in London Grammar all these years later?
I think communication, maybe.
Yes, I agree.
I think sometimes being in a band is quite stressful. I know that it's not as stressful as many other jobs, obviously, just as a disclaimer. It's like really amazing. But in terms of like the closeness, it's a bit like being in a pressure cooker sometimes, which is why bands break up so much. And I think we've just learned how to like communicate through the tensions and remain friends.
Yeah.
So it's kind of cool.
I was going to say, I it may not be, as difficult as being like a sewer maintenance person, but there aren't many other jobs that require you to be in a van with the same two people over and over and over and over again.
Yeah.
It's a relation. It's like unconditional, so you can be as pissed off at each other, as you like, but it's fine because it's ultimately it's kind of like having siblings, so it's just there's an unconditional love behind there, and it's just like you have to just learn to tell each other that you're annoyed.
Because if you, it is important to tell each other when you're annoyed, because truth is a beautiful thing.
Exactly.
Nice
Nicely
segue.
done.
Nice.
Well weaved.
I'm that bitch all the time. How did the title of the album come about? It's been a few months since it's been out, right? This is your second record.
It came about because there's a song on the album called Truth's a Beautiful Thing, and on the first album we named it the first album If You Wait after a song as well. So we just thought, it'd be nice to just do that again.
Thematically, was there a conversation about sort of like the truth being a beautiful thing that led you all to because when there's three people in a band, you all kind of have to agree on stuff like that. Was that like the formative idea for this record?
Well, I think Hannah's lyrics have always, on this record, they touched on truth and the idea of truth and the concept of truth a lot. And I think interestingly, we actually were thinking of calling the album something entirely different. And then I think towards the very end of the making process, I think it became more clear that because the theme of truth in general was so strong that it seemed undeniably that should be the name of the record, and that's really how we reached that point.
I think we're in a really strange time in the world right now where what is and isn't true is actually like very kind of up for debate, which is weird. I feel like a lot of musicians especially feel like there's an importance right now to be truthful with their audience, to be communicative with their audiences. What kind of obligations do you think yourself or your fellow musicians are under in terms of like showing your audience good people and real things during such a turbulent time in the world?
I think it's an interesting, very interesting point. I think there's a difference between maybe truth and just complete like transience from artists who a lot of people now in the world live their entire lives kind of very overtly publicly online and stuff, and I think for us actually people thought we disbanded because we don't really tend to put a lot of things online. So when we're making our new album, we actually had to put a picture of us up saying that we're still alive and we're still making music, and here we are, because no one really knew, because we're kind of like a little bit more reserved, I think, when it comes to, but I think it's it's important to know the bands as people. I know personally bands that I love kind of trying, you want to know what they're like as actually individually as well.
There's nothing weirder than looking into a band you really love and finding out that they suck. That they're just like annoying or they're awful, but you guys are clearly not awful at all.
I wasn't sure if that was
we're
what
good
I was saying
actors.
there.
Not
Haven't
like I'm the
gotten
last
to know
vestige
me.
of judgment on that one, but have you had any notable fan experiences recently where you've met people who really appreciate your message and really appreciate your truth?
Yeah, I think actually on this kind of run, we've been here for like a week, and we're not by any means mainstream here in America, but the fans that we do have, like, they all know all the words to the new stuff, and that was such a surprise. Like, I think we all felt like, oh, we've been away for so long, like no one's gonna care, and it is amazing. Like that's been probably the best fan experience I've had, is like seeing them still singing new songs.
Well, they're
It's cool.
singing along because your stuff is so fantastic.
Oh,
Let's
thank
talk about
you.
lyrical inspiration for this record as well. The way that the songs were written. Were there any other very contemporary influences that you were looking to when you were working on this record?
I mean, yeah, we've all. I think at the time we definitely bond over certain things that come out in the mainstream. So like at the time specifically, there was a film Interstellar that came out 2-3 years ago, and that was
I actually randomly was there with you watching it. Do you remember?
we were
Which you didn't
in
know.
cinema together,
Yeah.
which is strange, but it was for some reason like a real bonding piece of media, that particular film, and that was amazing, not just from the film point of view, but the story behind it and also the music. So that was one thing, and then I don't know what else lyrically. That's maybe not the case, but I don't know.
Lyrically, I think I kind of actually went back to some of my great favourites, like Stevie Nicks and Michael Jackson, Chris Martin, but then I
Lissy?
always
Lissy?
and well, she was like a more recent kind of love in the last couple of years. I listened to Lissy a lot. She's a singer-songwriter. Eddie Vedder. I mean, I love great singers. I think that's for me.
And you yourself are a really great singer. You all have a history of making other kinds of music. We're multi-instrumentalists. We're like lifelong musicians. Where did you personally get your start? Do you remember the first song you ever wrote?
Yeah, I actually, this is the first band I've ever been in.
Good job.
Yeah,
Nice.
Well done.
But I don't know. I was really young. I used to just play the piano, and I kind of taught myself how to write songs. And I don't really remember. I was probably like 4.
You were 4 when you wrote your first song.
Well, I think so. I remember like making up like a fake symbol language to like correspond with the notes, so I would write like weird songs. That sounds cooler than it is.
What did they look like? You never actually
No, I just
said.
totally,
They
I get
were
the
like-
Interstellar thing now completely.
Yeah, they were just like little
Alright.
shapes. So like one would be like, okay, if I have like a square with a line through it, that's this note. But then I
For a
would,
certain like time as well.
I don't know, it wouldn't be for a certain time. And then, but I would always forget it the next day. So then I'd come downstairs and there'd be like all these symbols, and I'd just be like, oh, I forgot again.
What does the triangle mean?
You were like
What does
4-year-old
it mean?
Bjork. Like,
Yeah.
Makes absolute sense. So if there were a symbol that could represent exactly where London Grammar is in your
Yeah.
career right now, how would you draw it? If you promise to forget it tomorrow.
Oh, that's such a
We'll all
deep-rooted
forget it
psychological
Oh, no, a
question.
circle.
Exactly.
A
what it is.
circle.
Yeah, I think we're a circle at the moment.
That's actually.
It's like you
I
bring the
totally
timeline,
agree.
full circle.
The Bermuda
How-
Circle.
right?
It's a fucking circle.
Yeah.
100%.
It's a what circle?
It's a fucking
Just we're a
circle.
circle right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I totally get the sibling thing now, you
Yeah.
guys. London Grammar, you are absolutely incredible. Thank you so
Thank
much
you.
for joining us.
Thank you for having
Congratulations
us.
on your set.
Thank you, darling.
Thank you.
We will definitely be hearing and seeing more from you very, very soon.
Cheers.
Thanks so much.
Thanks.